So what's the real story behind Flower Mound, Texas? Well, today we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and everything in between. If you're considering a move to this very popular North Dallas suburb, you are in the right place. Today we're diving deep into the pros and cons of living in Flower Mound, Texas. We'll talk all about its prime location, some community highlights, and even some of the challenges that the residents face. I'm going to give you my honest view to hopefully help you decide if living in Flower Mound is the right place for you. My name is Kristen Carpentier, and I'm a real estate agent here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and my husband and I raised our 4 children here, right here in Flower Mound. We moved to the area when our youngest was just starting kindergarten, and we have been here now all the way through, all 4 of our kids graduating from high school. And I can honestly say, if we had to do it over again, we most likely wouldn't have changed a single thing. Now, with that said, I have a lot to share about living in Flower Mound, Texas as well, because it may not necessarily be for everyone. So I'm going to give you all of the insights into what we have learned about living in Flower Mound over the past almost 14 years. So to start, let's talk about the location and accessibility of Flower Mound. Now, Flower Mound is located in the northwest part of Dallas-Fort Worth. It is perfectly positioned for those who might want the best of both worlds. Those that are looking for the less congested feel of some suburban living, but still having easy access to major attractions like places downtown Dallas and the DFW airport. It is close to other major cities like Denton, which is home to the University of North Texas, as well as Texas Women's University. Also fairly close to the city of Frisco, which is home to the Dallas Cowboys, and that's where their headquarters are at, as well as the PGA headquarters now. And it's also a hotspot for a ton of other things to do. Plus, so much more is coming over to Frisco. It is also pretty close, just on the other side of Lake Grapevine, to the city of Southlake, as well as not being too far out of the city of Fort Worth. With such prime positioning, it does make Flower Mound an ideal spot for those who may commute often for work or for pleasure. Now, according to the U.S. Census, the average commuter travel time is about 24.8 minutes for people who are living in the city of Flower Mound, while the average commute here in the state of Texas is about 27.2 minutes. So depending on where you need to commute for work, it's a little bit better than the average here in the state of Texas. Now, the town's location does also provide some convenient access to many of the major highways here in North Dallas, including both the 35 East as well as the 35 West freeways, Highway 377, the 121, the 114, and the 635 freeways. Yes. We're probably going to have a little bit of a math quiz here about all of these numbers and where exactly that they are located. I know, just trying to keep your numbers straight here. These roads do make traveling to and from Flower Mound much easier than other parts of the DFW metro that do require having to take toll roads, and sometimes multiple toll roads just getting around some of these particular cities. So just getting around in some of these other North Dallas suburbs, it could start to add up relatively quickly if you're always having to get on some of the toll roads. So living in the Flower Mound area is going to help reduce some of our commute times and also is going to help connect the residents to so much more of the Metroplex. Now, as a comparison, for instance, if you did live in Frisco or Prosper, you would likely need to hit at least one toll road, if not 2, in order to commute to work each and every day. But in Flower Mound, you have multiple routes to get downtown without the additional expense of all of those costly toll roads, not to mention the distance it's going to take to get there. Plus, for all of my frequent flyers out there, the short distance to DFW International Airport, as well as getting down to Dallas Love Field, makes flying both domestic and internationally a little bit easier. So whether you're off for business, or maybe you're just traveling for pleasure, having access to these airports is a huge bonus compared to other desirable North Dallas suburbs. Next, let's talk a little bit about what the community and lifestyle is like living in Flower Mound. With developments like Lakeside in the south part of Flower Mound and the Riverwalk, which is more in the center of town, they help add more of a modern flair to most of the town's more traditional vibe that people talk about. Both areas do offer different kinds of atmospheres to its residents and their everyday lifestyle. They offer not only unique shopping and dining experiences, but definitely in their living experiences as well. The areas do kind of cater to more of a variety of tastes as well. Now, down in Lakeside in particular, Lakeside is going to border Grapevine Lake on the north side. They are going to have some very high-end luxury condos in a high-rise tower overlooking Lake Grapevine, but that's going to showcase some amazing views, especially the sunsets at night overlooking the water. Now, there are also going to be high-end single-family homes and townhomes, and they also even have apartment living down in Lakeside as well. Now, residents can also enjoy a mix of retail shops, restaurants. They have a movie theater, as well as residential spaces that are all going to be gathered together in one particular space, which does kind of create a more lively and convenient community within the city of Flower Mound. So kind of imagine yourself maybe taking some walks through Lakeside on a Saturday afternoon. Maybe you're going to stop by one of your local boutiques down there, grab some lunch at one of the neighborhood restaurants, or perhaps catch a live musical performance in the evening. They have some great concert series that go on down in Lakeside, so kind of your one-stop shop to get out and about within your local community. So having this variety of amenities within the Lakeside community is really what makes living in Flower Mound so unique for a lot of people. Now, the appeal to Flower Mound doesn't even stop right at the shopping and dining. The town of Flower Mound is home to a lot of recreational facilities. We have the Community Activity Center, which is a really big focal point for a lot of the residents here. The CAC, as they like to call it, is going to offer everything from fitness classes to indoor and outdoor swimming pools with water slides, as well as a lazy river. So whether you're looking to maybe join a yoga class or learn how to play floorball, or you want somewhere to take your kids for a swim, or even find a quiet spot to read while your kids can run around and play, the CAC is going to provide so many different kinds of activities for all ages. So activities from your little teeny tiny ones to those maybe more distinguished residents of Flower Mound. Now, one of our favorite parks here in Flower Mound is called Heritage Park, down on the south side of town, right near the CAC. Now, that one, along with numerous neighborhood parks, does provide plenty of green space for tons of outdoor activities. Kind of think about maybe some nature walks, maybe your endless bike rides with your kids, picnics with friends, as well as community events. We love spending time outside with our family when the weather is nice. Of course, not in the summertime when we're all dying here. But of course, we did so much more of that when our kids were younger and all of them were still living at home. So when you're getting outside and enjoying picnics with friends and neighbors, and all of your kids are running around and playing together, I honestly miss the days of those kids being out there making up games together and just having endless hours of entertainment with our friends and neighbors. Now, I also spent countless days with our kids going to the water park at the CAC. I mean, when you have 4 kids at varying ages and everybody needs to have their own space, it's a great place to get out, especially in the summertime when the heat was making us all crazy by having to be stuck inside together and having so many of these parks to visit around Flower Mound. Most are more than just these big open spaces and grass to run around in. There are so many playgrounds and swings for the littles and splash pads and even parks to play frisbee golf and ride your bikes and take your scooters. We would take everything out to the parks and just spend all day there when the weather was nice. We have so many memories in all these parks of Flower Mound with how there is to do here. There are a lot of other amenities that you can find in the city of Flower Mound too, from the local library to lots and lots of different soccer fields, basketball courts, and neighborhood lakes for fishing. Flower Mound is also nestled right in between 2 large lakes, Lake Grapevine and Lake Louisville. Both lakes also have a pretty large trail system for hiking and mountain biking, and Flower Mound even has a couple of golf courses, like the one in the Bridlewood neighborhood and the one in the Tour 18 community. So if you are maybe more of a beginner or maybe even a seasoned golf pro, you can enjoy a round of golf, or you can even take golf lessons. So having great amenities around where you live really does help to contribute to a higher quality of life, and it helps make Flower Mound an attractive option for families looking to settle down here. Now, Flower Mound also has plenty of shopping options readily available too. There are some specialty options, maybe in South Flower Mound and sprinkled throughout the community, but it's more in the north part of the city near Highland Village where the majority of the shopping is going to be located. From our gigantic mega Target to probably one of the biggest and nicest Walmarts you're ever going to find. Yeah, I mean, I know, it's still Walmart. There is most everything that you're going to need in the area. Granted, you might get a little bit stressed out with our Home Goods and our TJ Maxx store because there always seems to be a line out the door if you're shopping there. A lot of really good things, but most people don't want to wait in those lines. So while you may still be able to get all the necessities of life and some of the other things here and there, you are in all likelihood going to still want to venture out of the city to some of the other suburbs in the DFW Metroplex to have some more options. But that's not always a bad thing to get out and explore more of the Metroplex sometimes, especially if you're new here. Now, education is also another area that draws a lot of people to want to move to the city of Flower Mound. The town is served by highly rated high schools in the Louisville Independent School District. There are two top-rated high schools, Marcus High School and Flower Mound High School, and they're both known for their high-quality education and activities. The district is also known for their academic excellence, their athletic programs, and their learning environments, which is what draws in families that are considering a move to the area. We've raised our 4 children here in Flower Mound, like I said, and they attended their schools here all the way from elementary through high school. We did have our kids attend a couple of different elementary schools as well as middle schools just because we moved a couple of different times. But we had fantastic experiences all around. Our daughter was a cheerleader and our boys ran track and cross country. One of our sons also played water polo and one even played ultimate frisbee through the high school. All of these experiences just really helped all of our kids to thrive and have great experiences in the schools here in Flower Mound. And it really isn't just about the education in the schools. Our high school sports and our band programs are, of course, a really big deal here in Flower Mound, with all of the schools having multiple teams for different sports and a wide range of different extracurricular activities as well. Students have plenty of opportunities to find something that interests them. Our high schools have 6 separate football teams. Both have highly rated marching bands that do win state competitions almost every single year. But also there are most other sports that you could name, and the list could probably take us 20 minutes alone for all the different programs that are offered. And it is not just about the competition. These schools are all about building skills, teamwork, and school spirit. So with outside career centers within these high schools as well that help teach students things like cosmetology, welding, animal sciences, auto repair, it can honestly be a little bit overwhelming on where to help your kids to find their place. But there just seems to be a lot of opportunities and things to choose from. So all of these things really do help ease the transition into some of these large high schools. A lot of these schools here in the Metroplex have 9th grade campuses, and those have been established in these particular school districts throughout DFW, and Flower Mound is no exception. Both high schools here in Flower Mound, Marcus and Flower Mound High School, have separate 9th grade centers, which do aim to help provide more of a smoother experience for students moving up from middle school. And this different type of approach to education here really does help aim to reflect the community's commitment to nurturing our younger residents. We have loved this for our own kids, especially. Having their first year only being on the 9th grade campus for the most part did help them transition into high school life just a little bit easier, and we've loved that part about it. Now, next up, let's kind of discuss the economy and the safety of Flower Mound. Now, according to the U.S. Census, in their ACS 5-year estimates, there are just over 62,000 people living in the city of Flower Mound that are over the age of 16. And they noted that there are over 44,000 people in the labor force in that particular age range. So there is roughly about 70% employment rate compared to the Texas average of about 62.6%. Now, the median household income in Flower Mound as of the 2023 census data was at around $147,000, with married couples whose families averaged about $180,000 per year, which is much higher than the state average in Texas, which is at about just over $75,000 annually. And also the poverty level in Flower Mound is only at 3.3% compared to the Texas average of 13.7%. Now, this economic stability is another key factor that does attract new residents to our area. This also can be a con for many who might have to move to Flower Mound in order to take advantage of our great location, the town safety, and the schools. However, the cost of living is so much higher than many of the other Dallas suburbs. And as far as employment industry options for those who do live in Flower Mound, Texas, according to the census, we can see that the largest portion of residents work in professional, scientific, and management careers, which make up about 18.7% of the workflow, and educational services and healthcare come in at around 18.5%. Then comes people working in finance, insurance, real estate, ta-da, and the rental leasing making up about 15.2%. So employment overall in the DFW metro area is very strong, and many companies continue to relocate here to Texas. And the DFW metro area as a whole makes employment opportunities very plentiful. Now, if you care about safety, who doesn't, of course? The town of Flower Mound is generally considered very safe. And according to SafeWise, 20 safest cities here in Texas, Flower Mound comes in at number 18 for the entire state of Texas. And we all know how big the state of Texas is. We have not seen or been victim to any crime since we have lived here in Flower Mound. This is us personally. And according to niche.com, 73% of Flower Mound residents indicated that they feel very safe, 26% feel pretty safe, and 2% are somewhat safe, which thankfully we haven't had to deal with. But that does, of course, not mean that it doesn't happen. The most common sorts of crimes that are reported are theft and burglary, but these are well below our national averages, as you can see. Now, of course, potential residents should stay informed about safety trends and their ratings, and it's reassuring to know that Flower Mound does have a very engaged law enforcement community, and safety is a top priority, with local law enforcement actively engaged in maintaining a secure and a very safe community, as well as providing resource officers in our schools just in case something might happen. And when it does come to the cost of living and housing, Flower Mound is known for its higher than average real estate prices. And according to the homebuyinginstitute.com, that looks at the 20 most populated DFW cities and suburbs, Flower Mound was number 2 in terms of the median sales price and is on their list at just around $599,000 as of January 2025. Putting Flower Mound just behind the city of Frisco, which was at about $671,000. So in terms of large suburbs, Flower Mound is definitely one of the more expensive options to purchase a home, which can be a con to many who might be looking to move to this very desirable community. And because of the town's desirability driving up some home prices, you have probably heard the saying in real estate about location, 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 and that for sure is going to hold true for Flower Mound. But it is worth noting that the median home price does reflect the area's appeal, the low crime, their school ratings, and the amenities that are offered here. Homes here often do range in terms of age, their features, and design, and there are new construction communities still being built in the city with some big communities that are still to come. And the prices of homes are very wide-ranging and are often notable in the locations and areas that they are located in. Now, for instance, homes more on the eastern part of Flower Mound and closer to the city of Louisville are typically older, a little bit smaller, and maybe more basic in terms of the features and design. These homes tend to be more of the entry-level options for those looking to move to the Flower Mound area because they tend to be the most affordable. There are also some apartment options in Flower Mound, some of which are more on the east side of town near some of the older neighborhoods. But then as you shift west towards more like the I-35 West Freeway and south towards Grapevine Lake, homes in these areas are going to begin to rise in price and in quality. Now, for instance, as you can see on our home search page, when we filter to the max home price of $450,000, almost all of the homes are located on the eastern third of Flower Mound. And as you can see, these are often more dated, older homes, again, great starter homes, and it does show you that you can even buy a home in Flower Mound for as low as $230,000. Pretty sure that's going to be a significant fixer-upper. Then as we change the price bracket to around $500,000 to $1 million, you begin to see the shifting to more of the east part of Flower Mound, as this price range would be considered the midpoint in Flower Mound. Then once you filter to, say, maybe over $2 million, you're going to begin to see where our luxury communities are located here in Flower Mound. There are more on the west and south side of town towards the lake that I just was explaining and talking about. So in terms of home affordability, we see Flower Mound does have something for everyone. Now, on to the downside. What may be more affordable in Flower Mound would typically be a much nicer home in some of the more affordable suburbs in Dallas. Location is truly going to come at a price by living here. Now, comparatively, the cost of living in Flower Mound can be higher than in some surrounding cities. So prospective residents should weigh these factors when you might be considering making a move here to Flower Mound. Think of it this way. You're not really just paying for a house, you're investing in a lifestyle that does offer safety, community, education, and especially convenience. Now, I feel like the traffic and infrastructure are important considerations for any of our prospective residents thinking of moving here to Flower Mound. Traffic congestion can be a challenge here, particularly during our more peak hours of commute times. The lack of our direct highway access in some areas can only make this issue more challenging, which is going to lead to longer commute times trying to get through the city. And many of these larger roads, like 2499, our Long Prairie Road that heads north and south through town, and the 1171 or Cross Timbers Road. Yes, a lot of roads here do have two names that head east and west through town, can become quite congested during rush hour, especially as you go through the heart of Flower Mound, and many of these roads intersect as people make their way to the highways trying to commute to some of these other cities. And additionally, the urban development that is happening in Flower Mound has impacted our traffic patterns and our natural environment as well. Many of these areas that used to be filled with trees and green spaces and are now being developed into housing or commercial developments are something to consider for those who do maybe value their green spaces and less urban density. The town is, of course, actively working on our infrastructure improvements to address our community's concerns, which people always do have those, which does help to demonstrate its commitment to our local residents' quality of life. Though there is nothing right now that can readily be done to add additional roads within the city to help alleviate the congestion, since that portion of Flower Mound is pretty much landlocked, we'll just kind of have to see how a lot of these new communities being built here in Flower Mound will end up affecting our overall commute as they continue to be built out. So for some people watching this video, this would be one of the cons of moving here to Flower Mound, Texas. And for those who do enjoy the nightlife and dining, Flower Mound offers a little bit more of a subdued experience, I guess you could say, compared to some of the neighboring cities. While there are plenty of local dining options, including some smaller, more intimate restaurants, and our chain restaurants, of course, residents are often going to probably want to travel to some of the nearby cities for a bit more maybe lively nightlife experience. You can for sure go out and get dinner and a movie here in Flower Mound, take a date night, or go out with your family. But for those young enough who still want to go out, maybe go do a little bit of clubbing, meet up with their friends, it might not be that great of an option by making the move here to Flower Mound. You're probably going to want to head towards maybe Frisco or Dallas to get more of that nightlife experience. However, that may be a pro for those living here in Flower Mound who don't want to bring the headache that some of this excitement can bring with it and some of the problems that it can bring with it as well. Now, overall, the appeal of Flower Mound is in its combination of our location, our schools, our low crime, and our close-knit community. All of these things are what draws in new residents looking for a suburban lifestyle with some, a little bit more urban conveniences. However, some might wonder if the town is losing its small town feel as it does continue to grow and develop. This is a consideration for a lot of people who do prefer a quieter, more intimate community setting. So that's it in a nutshell. That's our opinions. That's what we love here about living in Flower Mound and the things that we have noticed in the almost 14 years that we have been here. So if you have found this video helpful, remember, don't forget to subscribe, like, and as always, leave your comments down below. Your support does help us to continue to provide valuable insights into a lot of these cities like Flower Mound. And if you are considering making a move to the area, don't hesitate to give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. It is me you are going to get on the phone so that I can help you tailor your wants and your needs to what you might be looking for. And as always, thank you for watching our deep dive into the city of Flower Mound, Texas. We hope to help you make a much more informed decision about whether this particular Dallas suburb is going to be right for you. So be sure to check out our other videos on cities here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for more insights and comparisons. And until next time, as always, take care.